Did you know that the Dexcom G7 doesn't actually measure blood sugar? That fact, and this here little tank of liquid energy, could be the reason your glucose readings are inaccurate. Don't believe me? Here we go. It's been just about 2 months since I've been on this platform, and let me tell you, it's been educational. You see, I had 3 G7 sensors fail back to back to back over a period of less than I'd say 36 hours. And to say I was frustrated would be an understatement. So following the return process that I've described on more than a couple of occasions on this channel, I ended up in an eye-opening conversation with the Dexcom tech team. In the process of trying to figure out if the crash sensors were a me thing, a them thing, or an us thing, I learned a few things. And first, I learned that the sensors aren't actually measuring the glucose in our blood. Nope, these sensors are designed to work with the interstitial fluid between the cells, and then using an algorithm, determine a corresponding potential glucose level. And what is interstitial fluid, you might ask? Well, it's the fluid that surrounds our cells, carrying waste, byproducts, and nutrients throughout your entire body. And it's what's squeezed out when you push too hard on your sensor for any length of time, resulting in a false load reading or the dreaded brief sensor issue alerts you get on your phone. Now, while certainly an interesting fact in and of itself, measuring interstitial fluid also explains why there's usually a small percent difference in the readings between the Dexcom device and, say, a finger prick glucometer. The finger prick device is measuring actual blood glucose, thereby being much more accurate, while the Dexcom is relying on a bit more complex math, but still accurate enough to drive my Omnipod 5 pump. But also why every Dexcom device shipped comes with the instructions to verify both lows and your highs with an actual blood glucose reader before adjusting your insulin treatment. Which leads me to the third and most important fact in this video, and that's the impact of hydration on the accuracy of your Dexcom readings. You see, I've been off YouTube for a couple of months simply because my wife and I were busy getting our newly remodeled business back up and running, and that effort, well, it took every ounce of time, energy, and brain capacity that we had. And as such, our sleep cycles were off, our gym routine was thrown completely into chaos, and there were more than a few days when we were relying on these little gems to keep the internal lights on, which for me as a hybrid diabetic took a toll on my hydration. And now we're back to the 3 failed sensors I had to deal with in the midst of all this. I learned from Dexcom that being dehydrated, and I've also learned that no, energy drinks don't hydrate you, is very similar to having the interstitial fluid squeezed out from between your cells by pressure. It makes this dehydration, makes the sensor read false lows or report back as a brief sensor issue when in reality, you're just not drinking enough water. And I don't mean tea or coffee or soda in any of its forms, just water. And since my days as a desert warfare trainer for the Army, I know the importance of being hydrated, but I also choose frequently to ignore that advice when I find it to be inconvenient or flavorless, which did occur a few times over the past few months. So when all was said and done, I and Dexcom can't tell for sure what bombed those 3 sensors, but I can tell you this. Now that I'm getting a minimum of a gallon of water a day, that's 120 ounces or 3.8 liters for those on metric, I haven't crashed a sensor since. So, what do I want you to do with this information? It's simple. Managing our type 1 or type 2 diabetes is hard enough as it is. There's no need to complicate it further by failing to drink enough water. And don't even get me started on bourbon. I have an entire video on that you can watch next. But in the meantime, take a look at the links in the description for groceries and devices I rely on to help manage my diabetes, and that includes the single best water filtration system you can find on Amazon. It's worth a look. As always, thank you for taking the time to stop by the channel. I appreciate all the comments, definitely the interaction on the videos, and looking forward to sharing more about my late in life journey as a hybrid diabetic. And if you have any questions related to your Dexcom sensor or living with diabetes in general, put them in the comment section and I'll work to respond to each of them. And in the meantime, keep your spirits high, keep your blood sugar steady, and I will see you in the next one.